A little while ago, Snap-on came out with their 100th anniversary master quarter-inch socket set. And even the Snap-on guys thought the price point was a little ridiculous. 2,400 is what it's listed at. I've seen them on eBay as low as about 1,800. But that's not going to go for most people. Even most mechanics and Snap-on guys don't think that that's a logical price point for a quarter-inch socket set. So today, I wanted to do an overview and comparison of some of your alternatives in terms of good quarter-inch socket sets. And we are going from bargain basement pricing all the way up to a made in USA SK quarter-inch set that retails for a little over $220. So we are going to get into this today. We are going to compare them by features and warranty and other information, the variety of sockets that they offer, and we are going to see what comes out to be the best deal, the best bargain for the features that you may be looking for. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So here we have our bargain set. I'm going to label it bargain set because there's no clear manufacturer. And these are similar to things that you have seen on Wish and other places, but this is available on Amazon. Comes in currently at $26.99. It is listed as a 53-piece set. It is all metric. Now this is going to be a unique feature to just this set because I wanted to include the lowest possible cost option. So it is all metric in terms of the sockets, but you still get shallow and some deeps, and they are 6-point, which is surprising for the price point. Now it does come with a, I'm going to assume, 72 tooth ratchet. It's not listed, but 72 seems to be about the standard anymore. It does have an interesting feature. It has these socket bits, whereas most either don't include bits at all or include like a bit adapter. These are actual socket bits. So what it loses in the SAE category, it kind of makes up for in that. Who knows how these are going to hold up over time, but I will say the quality looks interesting for such a bargain set. It could be a pretty good deal for you. It does come with a universal joint. It comes with, I'm going to say that's a 2-inch adapter, or 2-inch extension rather. It comes with a 6-inch extension. There is some knurling there on both of those. Nothing too crazy, just a little. Comes with a flexible 1/4-inch drive, and it's not too flexible, right? It's still pretty stiff, which is really what you want to see if you're going to actually use this. But it's not going to do any crazy full-on 90-degree turns or any of that. So kind of interesting that that's as stiff as it is. Now, there is a T-handle with this one, but the one thing that I don't like about this T-handle is the fact that it's actually not made to go on extensions. Usually the T-handle adapter will use an extension for the T-bar. This one does not. It has a couple of ball bearing detents here to keep this adapter on. But yeah, so that's not really, I'm sure it's still going to be useful, but it's not really the standard style of T adapters. 1/4-inch drive adapter, even at the bargain basement level, is still a 1/4-inch extension, or ratchet assist, as some of them like to call it. So I think that is interesting that even at this price point you get that. The U-joint itself looks to have through steel bars that are some kind of detent to hold them in there. And that's actually surprising quality. I would expect it to be like riveted together or something like that. So I'm kind of curious as to how that would hold up over time, but I doubt I'm going to end up keeping this socket set for very long. The ratchet, it feels smooth. The selector's pretty big. It looks pretty much like the quality that you would get from your Pittsburgh ratchets. And surprisingly, if you look at that, the head is surprisingly kind of thin by comparison to what I would expect. I've seen them a lot thicker in the past. It does go from 14 millimeter all the way down to 4. I do not see any skips in that. And on the deep wells, you go from 14 all the way down to 6. There are some skips in there. You do not have 11. You do not have 9. You do not have... Yeah, you do not have 11 and you don't have 9. So there are a couple of skips there, but those, I think we all can agree, are pretty uncommon sizes. In conclusion, for the price point and the quality that you get, I can't say that 25 bucks is a bad deal. And currently there's a coupon on these on the Amazon website. But if you're just looking for a basic 1/4-inch socket set, this might be an option for you. Next up, we have the Casoman. It's listed as a master set, so there's that they're throwing out there. Currently, the price point is at $37.97. It is listed as a 62-piece set. Comes with SAE and metric, shallow and deep well. They are 6-point sockets, and it has a 72-tooth ratchet. On the Amazon listing, there is a 1-year quality warranty listed. So there is a 1-year quality warranty. I'm assuming that's if you find some kind of defect. How well you're going to be able to engage the seller in utilizing that would remain to be seen. I wouldn't put too much into that. So first of all, we have, that looks to be a 6 or 7-inch extension with a little bit of knurling. That's always nice to see, and it feels good. What looks to be like a 3-inch extension. Again, a little bit of knurling. Not super crazy on the knurling. I'm sure it's going to be helpful, but it's almost for show more than functionality. It doesn't seem to provide a whole lot of extra grip to your fingers. And then on these sockets, we go from 5/32 all the way up to 9/16, and the same for the deep on the standard. And then on the metric, we go from 4 millimeter all the way up to 14 millimeter. I do not see any skips. Of course, same with the deep wells. They are, as I mentioned earlier, 6-point sockets. The quality looks surprisingly good for a set that's coming in under $40. The markings are stamped into them. I really don't see anything there that I'd necessarily be upset about. Here's the 3/8. Nice stamping on that. You do get some bits, some of your standard bits with these. And unlike the last one, you actually have a bit adapter. Now this one, if I can get this to focus, you see the standard U-shaped spring clip in there. That's to help hold the bits in. Those are all kind of touch and go. They can work in a pinch, but it's not something you want to bet a job on. For the U-joint, we have, again, a steel rod going through, some kind of detent, keeping that in there. And it looks pretty good, just about the same as the last one. Chrome vanadium, and it seems to be pretty smooth in the motion. I'm sure as you use it, it'll kind of loosen up a bit, but it looks like it would be functional. So nice to see the U-joint in there, even with the low quality set. We'll go to the 1/4-inch driver next. It's the 4-sided handle that seems to be pretty common. Again, a 1/4-inch pass-through. If I can get that to focus. 1/4-inch pass-through can also be used with ratchet assist or as an extension. Overall, not that bad of a set. The socket offerings are pretty good. I don't really see any skips in what they offer you. And the ratchet itself, again, this head is a little thicker than the last one in the bargain set, but it's not as wide. So this, again, is very similar to the quality that you're going to see at Harbor Freight in their Pittsburgh Pro line. This is a 72 tooth ratchet with a selector switch. Selector switch seems okay. Yeah, I don't see anything there that catches my eye as anything that's not worth the money. So not overall, not that bad of a set. You do get some bits included with your sockets. The extensions are pretty nice. Would have liked to see a T-handle in this one, but yeah, for 37, 38 bucks, not that bad of a deal. Okay, gentlemen, up next we have the SATA kit. Now, if you're not familiar with SATA, they are actually manufactured and made by the Apex Tool Group. This set is listed with a limited lifetime warranty. It's kind of touch and go. You can reach out to them and get more specifics. They did say that socket bits and things like that were like a 30-day warranty, but it seems like the sockets, the ratchet, those kind of things are going to be a limited lifetime warranty. Obviously, if you completely abuse the tool, they probably reserve the right to refuse the warranty. But for all intents and purposes, it does have a warranty. You can hash that out with them. And Apex is known to make quality tools. So let's dive in and see what we get here. First, I'm going to say that here is a 2-inch extension. Now, the one thing that you start to notice here is that is a wobble. If I can get this thing to focus, there you go. That is a wobble socket. So if you put it on almost all the way, you're going to get that wobble. And then if you put it on all the way, you notice where it gets flat there at the end. Then you're going to get a standard rigid mount for your socket. And they are both the 2-inch, and I'm thinking this one it's listed as a 4-inch there. The 4-inch, so they're both that style. That's kind of interesting. This is the first set that we've seen that kind of functionality on. The universal adapter, again, a steel pin through the detent. This one looking a little shorter than the other ones that we had seen up to this point. So that's kind of interesting that it's got a lower profile to it. I think you can, if you're really looking at that, you can notice that too. So that's kind of interesting that it's a lower profile. Now, in these sockets, we go from, in the shallow, we go 5/32 to 9/16. In the deep wells, we go from 3/16 to 7/16. So the offerings there are not as inclusive. And then in metric, we go from 4 to 13. And in metric on the deep, we go from 4 to 13 as well. I do not see any skips. However, that 5.5 is not there. And I can't say how many times I've used a 5.5, but, you know, I will state for the facts and figures that it's not there. The ratchet itself, here we go with the first ratchet that seems to be of noticeable quality. Very thin head. It's got a retaining ring holding everything together. Quick release, I don't think, I'd have to check back. I'm not sure if the other two up to this point were quick release. But this one I know for sure is. I want to say that they weren't. But, you know, obviously you watched the video, you could tell that. A very low profile on the selector switch. If you look there, if I can get this damn thing to focus, look how low profile that is with the back. That's actually kind of nice because you're always hitting your selector switch when you're doing things. So that might help keep you from doing that. Obviously, stamped SATA. There is a little bit of knurling on the handle here, but it's recessed. if you can see that. It's recessed, so it's almost just for show. I'm sure you can get a little bit of extra grip from that, but not much. But I am impressed with how thin that head is. It's a very thin-headed ratchet. I have here, let me make sure I'm reading this correctly, it's listed as a 72-tooth ratchet. So, all in all, for the $49.99 that this set retails at, it's not that bad of a set, I don't think. You start to see some interesting features like the wobble extensions. You do obviously catch the lack of any bits, and you catch the lack of an actual dedicated 1/4-inch driver. So that's interesting that they chose not to include that, but this is what you get with the SATA set. Alright guys, up next on the chopping block, coming in right about where you'd expect in the mid-range of our list, is the Tekton 1/4-inch master set that's listed currently on Amazon for $54.78. It is also listed as a 55-piece set. Now, what do we have here? We have a 6-inch extension with an extended knurling section. Very nice knurling on this. Very impressed with this. Not a wobble, if we can get that to focus. Yeah, there you go. Not a wobble, but nonetheless a nice 6-inch extension with a good bit of knurling. And then come down to the 3-inch, and it too has a very good knurl on it, almost the entire length of the extension. Like to see that. And good knurling too. You really feel it, the texture. So I will say that if you're going to have knurling, you should be able to definitively feel the extra grip on that. In our standard shallow sockets, we go from 5/32 all the way up to 9/16. I do not see any skips. Same thing on the deep well sockets, 5/32 to 9/16. An interesting thing to state about the few that are tapered. If you notice these here, I forget what they call this, something in the listing Tekton refers to, but basically the taper is the full length of the socket. So the only section that's bigger than the size of the head of the socket is the section for your 1/4-inch ratchet, and then it tapers down. So that's an interesting feature to get into tight areas with those sockets. And then on our metric, we go from 4 all the way to 14. We do have the 5.5, that's in the shallow, and then the same with the metric. Oh, I'm sorry, we had the 4.5 and the 5.5. I guess that was probably missing from the SATA set, that 4.5 as well. So we go from 4 all the way to 14, also in the deep, the 4.5 and the 5.5 included with that. I'm going to call it a taper or a shoulder on there, the full length of the socket to help access issues. Now, we do have a 1/4-inch bit adapter, but if you'll notice, this one has like one of the shoulder wall, like retaining clips style with a ball detent inside there to hold the bits. But interestingly enough, the set doesn't come with any bits. We do have a 1/4-inch drive square handle, which seems to be about the norm, with the pass-through, so it can also be used as an extension. So that's pretty nice. The universal joint, following along with the SATA, seems to be maybe a little thinner. I don't know. The back end on this one looks a little longer than maybe the SATA was. So it's probably more along the lines of what's normal. But I will say the detents on the steel shafts on this one look a little kind of like pressed. If you can see that. Yeah, there you go. They look a little pressed, like they were like punched through. So I kind of wonder how those are going to do over time. Some of you guys with this Tekton set can maybe comment down below and give other people an idea of how that U-joint holds up over time. Now, on the Tekton set, this is our first, and it might be our only. I think it's our only set that boasts a 90-tooth ratchet, if that is important to you. So, very smooth operation, if you can hear that. Very smooth operation. Again, mildly low profile selector switch. It does stick up a little bit there, more so than the SATA. I actually like the one on the SATA better than this. Quick release. The head's pretty slim, both in thickness and in the pear shape. So not too bad. I will say, so far, this is the longest handled 1/4-inch ratchet that we've been given, and there is like a little groove here into the handle, maybe for your fingers. I kind of wish there was some knurling there, but it's still not that bad. Overall, a pretty good socket set. I wish there were some bits maybe, but you know, you get what you get, I suppose. I do like this cavity here for bolts and other things that you might throw in there. That is a very good feature that they chose to add to this socket set. I do like that. Helps you keep things organized when you're doing a project. And here we have in front of us one of, I will say, the most comprehensive sets that is offered in this list so far. And that's just by sheer offerings that you see in front of you. This is the Capri Master 1/4-inch set. It's currently listed for $67.47 on Amazon. It is listed as a 51-piece set. So let's look at what we get here. We go from 4 to 15 millimeter on the metric shallow sockets, and that does skip the 4.5, but the 5.5 is included. On the deeps, we go from 6 millimeter all the way up to 15. Obviously, you're skipping a few of the smaller sizes on that. On the standard, we go from 3/16 all the way up to 9/16, and on the deeps, we go from 1/4 to 9/16. So there are a little bit of things left out of the deep wells on that, but I'm sure they did their research, and for a reason, those were more than likely not needed. You're probably going to be able to reach those with an extension rather than a deep well socket. So then we have a 1/4-inch adapter, 4 bits, as we've seen before. This has a much heavier duty. It's like, there we go. It's a much heavier duty spring clip inside there as opposed to the thin wire that you're used to. It's a long flat bar that runs almost that entire shoulder of that, so that looks a little more encouraging than what we normally see. We do have a 3/8 to 1/4 adapter, and we have a 1/4 to 3/8 adapter. However, all the sockets in here are indeed 1/4-inch, so they included those for, you know, whatever purpose. You have a 2-inch, it looks like, extension here. Nothing too special, nothing to write home about, standard extension. You have, gosh, this thing's got to be 6, maybe 8-inch extension. I'd have to check back and see what it's listed at, but it's a rather long extension. Again, nothing crazy, nothing to write home about, no knurling, but still a very nice one. And then you have, this is what I was talking about earlier on that cheap set, you have a, God, that's got to be like an 11-inch extension for the T-bar. And of course, you can pull the T-bar assist off of it and use it just as an extension, but it also functions as the T-bar. Very long extension with the T-bar. That's going to come in handy. We all know it is at some point, sometime. Then, if we look at the 1/4-inch driver, the square handle, which seems to be so utterly common among all these brands, with the pass-through ratchet assist. The universal joint, is again a pretty slim. This is more reminiscent of the SATA version, but again, these are actually bolts. If you can see that there, they're hex bolts that run through, and killing me phone. They're hex bolts that run through the 1/4-inch adapter. So while they may be replaceable, I gotta imagine that those would probably be a little thinner and a little weaker than just putting steel bolts or steel rods through there with a detent. So that'll be interesting to see how that holds up over time. The ratchet itself is about what we've seen, a little thicker on the head than we've seen on some. This, again, unfortunately looks like your standard Harbor Freight kind of Pittsburgh Pro quality. The selector switch seems very similar. Mildly low profile on it, quick release ratchet, but again, nothing to write home about. It's listed as a 72 tooth. Again, that's pretty standard, but it is, I have smaller hands, and that's about what we've seen normally. I would like to see more ratchets with the length of that Tekton. That was pretty nice. That had to have like 1.5 inches or maybe even 2 inches on all these other ratchets. But for what you get here, you do get the 1/4-inch driver, you get the T-bar, you get an 11-inch extension, I'm estimating there, and plenty of extensions, a decent ratchet, a bit driver. There's a small section in here, not as usable, but there is a small section in the case for storage, maybe for a couple of bolts or something like that, or your bit adapters, or your bits for your adapter. So all in all, not a bad set. The quality with Capri is good, and these do come with a limited or a lifetime warranty. So Capri's lifetime warranty does apply, and oh my God, look at that sticker. I posted this on Instagram after I bought it. This only comes with the master sets. This sticker is awesome. I love it. But that's the 1/4-inch set from Capri, and I gotta say, guys, this one's pretty impressive. For the price point of $67.47, you get a lot of offerings in this set, and I think it's definitely worthy to be called a 1/4-inch master set. On the table in front of us here, guys, is the 1/4-inch set from GearWrench. This one retails for $79.99, so just about $80 listed on Amazon, and it's listed as a 51-piece set. Now, it does come with an 84-tooth ratchet. If we can get that to focus, 84-tooth ratchet. Low profile selector switch. This looks a lot like the SATA. The selector switch and everything, that's almost identical to the SATA, which is pretty interesting. I'm not sure if GearWrench is made by Apex or not. Somebody could answer that in the comments below. But it's a very slim head, not quick release, just a ball bearing detent here to hold your sockets on. Spring clip retention to hold the ratchet together. No knurling, relatively short handle, a longer head, but pretty low profile. So very interesting there on the ratchet. You have what looks to be, gosh, that's probably a 7-inch, no, 6-inch extension. Lots of nice knurling there for about 1.5 inches of it. Here is your 2-inch extension, and a little light on the knurling. It still might help you a little bit, but it doesn't seem to have a whole lot of grip, and I wonder how much that's going to be helpful, almost just for show. On the universal joint, we are back to steel rods, detented, and this one, much like the SATA, seems to be a much lower profile than some of the other ones that we've seen. So, pretty good looking quality there by GearWrench. Now, okay, they kind of they kind of work the sockets a little bit here against me. On the shallows metric, we have 4 to 15, skipping the 4.5, but the 5.5 is included. I will say, very nice stampings on the GearWrench sets. Big circle there with the size in it. Nice labeling there. On the deep wells, we go 4 to 15, again skipping the 4.5, but the 5.5 is included. On the standard, we go 3/16 to 9/16, and the same on the deep wells, 3/16 to 9/16. Pretty good offering there, and if you'll look, and this has probably been the case for some other ones, there's like a knurling almost, or slotting on the metric, and on the standard, it's solid on the banding, so that's kind of a way to show you that you're looking at a metric versus a standard. The 6-point are very nice on these. The chrome finish is really nice. This is the first set to include a finger ratchet. Now, if you're not familiar with these finger ratchets, they function just about the same as anything else. There's a selector switch here for installation or removal, and it functions just like that. Now, this one's actually kind of wide. It's got this plastic housing on it. I kind of wonder what that looks like underneath there, but it may help in some situations. But they do give you this in lieu of an actual dedicated 1/4-inch driver. So take that for what you will. Maybe this and the U-joint and a couple of extensions can get you where you need to go. That's your decision to make, but that is the first one to include that finger ratchet over the 1/4-inch drive. So that is our GearWrench set. Of course, GearWrench coming with a lifetime warranty through GearWrench. And last, but certainly not least, coming in at $222.49, this is the 48-piece SK 1/4-inch ratchet set. Now, here is an important note for anyone considering this set. There is an identical set that's almost literally the same exact price. That is a 44-piece set, which comes with everything you see here, minus, so it comes without the finger ratchet, it comes without the U-joint, and these 2 adapters. But that's the 44-piece set. So if you're going to purchase this, if it's available, make sure to buy yourself the 48-piece set and get those extra pieces. If you were to buy them separately from SK, you're talking about a probably $50 value that is only the difference of about $1 in the purchase price of the socket set. So let's get into it here. We have in, oh man, everything's like sideways. In the standard, we go from 3/16 to 9/16 on the shallow, and we go from, what the, oh, okay, they use the same ones. Okay, so we go from 1/4 to 9/16 on the deep. So we do miss a couple of the smaller sizes on the deep wells, but over here in metric land, we go from 4mm, skip the 4.5, we do have the 5.5, and then we go from 6 to 15, and the same in the deeps with that full shoulder that we were talking about before. We go from 6 to 15 millimeters there. All, of course, again, all of these socket sets are 6-point. I had somebody comment in an Amazon review about the inside of these sockets, that dull gray finish they didn't seem to like. But this is SK's, I want to say it's called Super Chrome finish, and the chrome is very good on them. And of course, made in the USA, lifetime warranty against, any use whatsoever. So SK will replace it without any questions. Here is the 6-inch extension. A little bit of knurling on that, not too bad. again, nothing crazy, nothing to write home about. But here is the 2-inch extension, almost fully knurled. I do wish that knurling was a little better. It still feels pretty smooth to the fingers, but it is what it is. Here is the SK ratchet. Now, I could not find a tooth count for this. I'm going to throw it out there, and I'd like to say that it's like 72 tooth. It may be slightly less than that, but maybe some of you SK fans could answer that for me in the comments below, because I could not find that information. Spring clip, retainer holding everything together, the old school style selector switch bar, and that works pretty well. Knurling on the full handle with a slim head. It's a little thicker maybe than most, but what it makes up, or what it lacks there, it makes up for without the pear head. The round head ratchet might get you into some other places. The knurling on the handle for the ratchet, very good. And this has got to be the smallest ratchet that we've seen through all of the sets today. So, you know, that does go for something. I do like the length of the Tekton, but this might get you into some areas that some of the others wouldn't. Now, continuing on here with the ratchets, you do not get a 1/4-inch drive, but you do get this finger ratchet. Knurling all the way around the edge, same selector switch style as the actual ratchet. And again, I couldn't come up with a tooth count on this, but it feels very good. It's got to be more than the 36 tooth that used to be so popular. It's got a much smoother operation, but it is pretty wide. I mean, this whole thing, here's the 2-inch extension, so it's coming in at maybe like 1.5 inches. So yeah, it's pretty thick, but it's heavy. This has some weight to it, and I guess in lieu of an actual 1/4-inch driver, it's not a bad option. You see how you could use that in your dealings. Of course, as I said, SK lifetime warranty, made in the USA. This set does cost a little more, well, a lot more than even most of our other sets. But there's a quality and a standard that comes with the SK sets that you're just not going to get from, say, your GearWrench or your Capri or any of these other sets. So something to be said there, but a very nice set from SK if you can afford it. If made in America is important to you, I would definitely say this is a very nice set. Make sure, again, to get the 91848 48-piece set. There is also a 918 44-piece set that comes without these 4 pieces. It's about a $50 value, negligible difference on the price on the Amazon website. I actually bought that one, got it, was looking up for research purposes, found this, returned the other one so I could buy this one for the review. So that's what we have today, guys. Let's close this up and get a wrap on everything. All right, guys. So where do we stand after looking at these sets? Now, I will say Tekton came in at the price point that we would all expect, and it does have some great features. So for your mid-range set, I think the Tekton could be very nice for you. You're always going to consider something like a warranty. So with the questionable warranty here of the bargain set and the Casoman, the price point might be a selling point for you, but I think that the warranty issues on those might throw them out of most people's wheelhouse when considering a purchase. Now, I will say SATA, the warranty on there is still slightly questionable, being a limited lifetime warranty. I would like to see something better from them, but it does look like a quality set. So for about 50 bucks, that's not a bad offering. Then, of course, your GearWrench, being one of our highest dollar sets. Again, I would have liked to see a dedicated 1/4-inch driver. I do not like the finger ratchet. If I had to give it to anybody, and I understand that the price point is a little higher, but the Capri Master Set at $67 and some change, seems to have the best offerings, the best selection of extensions. It comes with a dedicated T-bar and an 11-inch extension. Still has the 1/4-inch drive pass-through ratchet, or pass-through drive for the ratchet. So I think that for most people is going to be your best bet for a mid-level price point. But of course, GearWrench coming in at about $80. And then if made in America is important to you, if you're looking for that kind of quality, I'm going to have to definitely recommend the SK, the 91848 48-piece 1/4-inch set. That is a great set, and it's going to last you a very long time. You'd be able to pass it down to your children without question. So that's what we have today, guys. I think a clear winner in the mid-range is the Capri set, followed up quickly and closely by the Tekton. GearWrench, I think their price point is a little too high for what they're offering there. Your mid-range, your SATA, your Casoman, depending on how important warranty is for you, I think are great offerings. And then, of course, if you're a bargain basement tool buyer, this $25 set on Amazon isn't bad if standard sockets aren't important to you. And then, of course, you always are going to have your top dog, your made in America. If that's your go-to, I can't think of a better option than SK for the price point. So that's what we have for you today, guys. This is where we stand in the running with these socket sets. And I hope that this helps you make a decision or a purchase of your own when considering a 1/4-inch socket set. As always, affiliate links will be down in the description below. They cost you no extra money to make a purchase through. It takes money out of Amazon's pocketbook and gives it to the channel. So I appreciate anyone that makes a purchase through those links. And that's it for today's video, guys. Matt from Just Wrench It. I will see you in the next one.